What's going on, everybody? It's Kimberly Flowers, the remote producer. You're watching Remote Producer Live. We are live and in the house, guys. We're testing out a new mic. This is the Shure MV7. I'm actually going to do a whole little tutorial on this mic, but for the purposes of today, just make sure that you guys can hear me. Let me know in the comment section. Again, if you like the sound of this audio as we kind of go through today's topic. Okay, so today we're talking all about content organization. Now, if you are doing productions for other clients and other people, you're responsible for the successful output of a production and you're responsible for multiple of these productions a week, then content organization becomes imperative, an imperative piece to the system that is remote producing, right? And so I wanted to make sure that I had this conversation with you guys because, you know, when it comes to like your clients have expectations. And so depending on what kind of service that you're offering in the way of like graphics and B-roll video and things like that, they're going to be sending in some information, and it's going to be imperative that you keep that organization, that content organized in a way that allows you to successfully put their show together and multiple other shows together that same week without losing your mind and pulling out your hair. So that's the topic for today's. I'm actually going to walk you guys through our producer's checklist. And before I do that, I want to make sure that I say what's up to you guys. I just want to thank you so much. I know that you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to be here. And to that end, I'm going to make today an awesome use of your time. If you're in the comment section, please do let me know. I'm going over here now. Where you are watching us from. I always love to know where you guys are watching us from. And if you are, let me see, I'm going to go over here to where you guys are. Let me know that you can hear me in the comment section and say hi. You know, sharing is caring. If you know someone who really needs to know this information, then you want to make sure that you share this out with them. Don't be selfish, guys. Share it out. Okay, so talking about content organization, like what do you do when you're responsible for multiple different shows or you have remote producers who are underneath you who are responsible for multiple different shows every week, and you want to make sure that they get the content right? You don't want to show up on somebody's broadcast accidentally, inserting wrong content. That would be like horrible. And I want to make sure that you guys avoid that. So I'm going to walk you through the producer's checklist, but before you get started with your producer's checklist, you have to understand that it's important for you to ask the right questions. Like depending on the services that you're providing in the way of your remote production, you're going to need to know the answers to some questions. So like the name of the episode title, they're going to have guests. You're going to need to know the name of the guest. You're going to need to know their social media handles. You're going to need to know, maybe pictures of the guests. You're going to have pictures of, the content, maybe like some pictures that are supporting graphics to the content that they're talking about, video, commercials. Like there's just so much content that can go in a 40-minute show. Like it can literally be crazy if you don't have a proper system helping you to make sure that you get everything right. So today's producer's checklist is for, it's going to help both the producers, making sure that they're inserting the right information in the right time on each show. And it's also going to help your client be sure that they're submitting the right information. Okay. And the way that we do this is with a simple Google form called our producer's checklist. Okay. And I'm actually going to walk you through this process. And so that you can see what are some of the questions that we ask, what's important for us to ask the client about their episode each week, so that we can successfully put this show together for them. The client is not responsible for, they are responsible for a few things, and I'll tell you what those are as we kind of go through the checklist, but they're not responsible for downloading content and sending it to you and all of these different things. What they're responsible for is sending you links to stuff, and then on our side, again, taking the brunt load of making sure that we're taking the technology curve, so that they don't have to figure out how to download it and send it to you. They just send us the links. We download it, we put it into their show. So when they're ready, when it's time for their episode to start, all they have to do is get in front of the microphone, get in front of the camera, and we're ready to rock and roll from there, right? So how do we do this? let's take a look at our producer's checklist. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this really quickly. And this is just, again, a Google form that we use that asks the right questions to the client about the show. And then we're able to put the information in there. Now, I want to just kind of preface before we get started with this, to say that there are a few things that you're going to need to make sure that the client understands about the producer's checklist, because it's going to take you some time to get all of that information from the form into the actual show, right? And so it's important that your client gives you enough time to make that happen. Okay, so I'm actually going to walk you through like basically how we walk a client through this process so that you can walk your clients through the same kind of similar process. Let's take a look. All right. So, this is our producer checklist. Again, this is just a Google form. I'm actually going to navigate over here to the form so that I can be where you are. All right. Now we do put a video tutorial on how to fill out this form at the very beginning of the form. And Google Forms is really cool because it allows you the opportunity to do that. So you can insert videos and images and things like that. Anything that you think will really help your client to make this an easy process for them, you want to include. So if you have images that walk them through a step-by-step process, do that. We chose a video because we thought it was the simplest way to kind of walk them through the process. So let's take a look at this. And going back to the form here, we have this little video walking them through the process. Some important submission information about this producer's checklist that we tell our clients is that it's important that they do a couple of different things. Now, they have a submission deadline notice, and this is very important because in an effort to keep the producer informed and give them, ample time to include pre-recorded images, videos, other specifications they want included, broadcast elements they need included in the broadcast, we need to have time enough to make those changes. So we do request that the client submit their producer checklist in 48 hours before their show gets started. Now, I cannot stress how important this process is for you as a producer. If you're doing multiple shows, you got shows back to back, like all day that you're doing, and then, a submission comes in 2 hours before the show's supposed to start, you're going to need at least like 40 minutes to get that done. You know what I mean? So it's going to be important for you to make sure that you give your producers time enough to, put that show together. So we ask that they do submit the checklist at least 48 hours before their show is scheduled to begin. And of course, that gives us plenty of time to do that at that point. Okay. One other thing that we make sure that they understand is that spelling and grammar, like when you're working with a lot of producer types, they're creative types, they are not like spelling and grammar, and this is actually one of the things that I was like kind of hesitant about doing when we first started, the whole agency, is because I work with a lot of creative types. They're not like maybe the most attention to detail when it comes to like, grammar and spelling and things like that. So we do ask that the client be sure that what they submitted into the producer's checklist is submitted as they like to see it on the show. Because we literally copy and paste what they send us into the areas that they go into. So spelling and grammar is super important. That's something that the client is responsible for. And broadcast scheduling, we just let them know like, hey, if you, for whatever reason, miss your subscription time period, like each of our clients, we run a subscription-based process. So we run a subscription-based agency. So they're able to have access to our production crew and, a couple of times a month. So whether they're doing a weekly show 4 times a month, or if they're doing a bi-weekly, twice a month, something like that. So they get access to it. And they have a specific time. So their session is like Tuesdays at 7 or Mondays at 6, whatever. And that's their scheduled time every time. They're assigned a producer who is scheduled to be with them live during that time, making sure that their production goes off without a hitch, right? But inevitably, sometimes your clients, for whatever reason, they're going to need to reschedule their broadcast. So we do allow them to reschedule anytime within the billing period. They do not roll over month to month. Those are things that, again, if you're a remote producer, things that you need to know, because if you have them rolling over month to month, then you'll find, like somewhere around month 8, they never get there. And then you feel like you owe them 100 broadcasts because they didn't do it all year. And now they want to do it at the end of the year. So we try to make sure that we don't overload our producers, and that we, have a projected expectation about how many shows they're going to be doing every week, and, what they're responsible for within those shows. So that's kind of how we've set ours up. Let's take a look. These are just some of the things that we kind of tell the client, and I want to make sure that you guys know about this so that you can do the same. All right. So then that kind of goes into just the important stuff for the client to know. And then obviously your form is going to ask the right questions about each of their episodes. So they turn this in every week. So every week that they do an episode with us, then they will turn this little form in. Okay. And this form just asks them a few questions, and it allows them to, let me see if I can do that this way. It's not going to show all of this stuff. Okay. But it does allow them, the space to be able to add certain things that they want to add if they don't want to add certain things. So maybe they don't have video, or they don't have, pictures. They just have the guest name. They have this, they have that. This form gives them, space to be able to customize the show according to what they need it for. Okay. But without, missing any things in between. So let's take a look. All right. So the first thing that your producer's checklist should be asking about is, tell us about the episode. We want to know what the show host name is, right? We need to know the show name. So we'll have the show name. And the cool thing about this show name part is based on the show name, we use another application called Zapier to send this form, or the responses from this form, to the right producer. Okay. So when you start dealing with multiple different producers that you have on your staff, you want to make sure that the right producer is getting the submission in the timely manner that they're supposed to get it. And so we use Zapier as a third party, and maybe we'll show you how we do that to just kind of make sure that the information is getting to the right person at the right time. Okay. So some other things that they will need to know. Sorry about that. Okay. The show name, episode title name, episode subtitle. So the title and the subtitle is displayed in the lower third text. Okay. It's displayed in the lower third text of your show. And all they have to do, again, this is short answer. So all they have to do is just type the answer right in there, and they're able to submit it at the bottom as we go through this. So the show name, episode title name, subtitle name, and the social media post description. The social media post description is the information that is going to appear in the description of their social media area. So if they're doing a broadcast and it's, they have the video happening, but they want links inside of the actual description where people can click and, be led to products and services, or to, their list growing, platform. All of that stuff is listed inside of the producer's checklist. Guys, I know that this can seem a little bit tedious, but I want to make sure that you guys actually do this, because it is a very much so important part of your processing as a remote producer. Okay. So let's go back in here and kind of take a look at this process. And I'm going to walk you through this pretty quickly. So after that, you want to ask about the guest information. So they're going to have, our process allows them to have up to 4 guests on their show. So they're going to have the guest information and their social media handles listed here. So they'll just fill that out, put their full name there, their social media handles there, a website. And so we have a specific graphic that we go to whenever, the host will ask, hey, thanks for being on the show. Let our audience know a little bit about where they can find you, right? Where they can find you. And so then we have that available for them. Okay. Going back here. And then the next information is going to be pictures of the guest. Okay. Now, again, this is going to give as your client is going through this content, it's going to give them good ideas about things that they can include to really help the visual aesthetic of their show kind of be more interesting to the viewer. Okay. So it's really cool to, I'm having allergy issues. So y'all forgive me. I'm so sorry. I'm coughing all over you. But so it's going to give them ideas about how they can use their particular content to be more visually stimulating. So it's really cool to say, hey, you guys, today we have this special guest. She's awesome, da da da. But it's even cooler while the host is talking about that special guest, that you have displayed, images of them kind of like coming in and out, or rotating images of this person that you're about to introduce, as they're reading the bio or something like that. So just small little things make a huge difference when it comes to that. I wish I could mute myself when I'm coughing. So y'all forgive me with that. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. So we have pictures. We have an area for them to insert pictures. Now, how do they actually do this, right? The way that we, inside of the video, we show them how to do this is that it's just as easy as like going to any place on Facebook or LinkedIn, like wherever they find their guest, right? Let's just say they go on Facebook, and I'm actually going to move this to my whole screen so that you guys can see me open up a new tab here. Hang on one second. I'm going to go to the entire screen. Yep. All right. So I'm going to show you how we, let them send us the pictures and then how we download them on our end. Okay. So let's take a look here. Going back here. Okay. So we're in the form, and all they are supposed to do is just literally copy and paste a link to the picture. Okay. And then we'll download them and put them inside of the show for them. So they can go to, let's just go to Facebook here. Let's just say their guest is on Facebook and they found some images there that they can use. Okay. Let's just say our guest is Rob here, right? So all they'll do is click the picture, right click it, save image. Where you would normally put save image as, what you're going to do is hit copy image address, right? Copy image address. And then all they do is literally paste that, into the right area here on the producer's checklist. Okay. So here, they would just kind of paste that right in there and submit it as such, right? And so from there, we would take over and just download using that link. We can download those images and directly into our drives. And same with video. So let's take a look at video, like how they will insert the video into the producer's checklist, and then how your producer is able to download them. And I'm going to give you another resource for downloading things from social media that I think is a really good resource for you guys to have. Okay, but let's take a look at this really quickly. I keep going there. Okay. So let's just say they're in the producer's checklist here and they want to download video. Okay. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So I want to kind of stay within the flow of this, but it's going to ask about video in just a little bit. So we'll just kind of keep going. And when we get to there, I definitely will share how this happens. Okay. So they'll put the guest full name, their social media handles. Social media handles, of course, can be found just by going to the name of the person here and then copying right there in the URL and pasting it directly into the form, right? This is just showing you a longer version of the form or whatever, but they just copy and paste it just like that. And then you have it on your end. Okay. So we try to make the process as simple as we possibly can for the client so that they're not, feeling overwhelmed about like how they're going to get the information to us, how they're going to get it downloaded, like all of these different things. No, we take care of all of that. And this is how we do it. And this is how you can do it also. Okay. Which is the important part. So now that they've downloaded, or now that they've like, you know, given us pictures, given us social media handles, the next thing that we ask about, of course, is going to be, I really want to do this just for, hold on one second. Navigating. Okay. Let's go here. Okay, guys, can you hear me? I'm so sorry. Like I'm really, yeah, I'm Blue Talk says I sound like I'm really suffering. I kind of am. I just had like a sudden thing happen here, but we're gonna push through it. Okay. All right. So going down through here, let's take a look at the next thing that we're going to be asking the client for. And that's going to be videos you'd like to include for commercials. Okay. Now, obviously, inside of the broadcast, commercials are kind of a big deal, you know, because if your client is doing like a virtual event where they are teaming up with other, sponsors and things like that that need to be recognized during the show, then you're going to want to be able to highlight those things for them. I'm so sorry. Like I was feeling fine before this, but I don't know what's going on here. I'm sorry, guys, but thank you for bearing with me as we kind of go through this. But so let's talk about commercials. How do we get the commercials in here? The first thing that you want to do is you have this little area here in your form, and it says commercial video. So all they have to do is paste the link to the video in here, and you'll be able to download it using a little piece of software called Snap Downloader. Okay. Now, Snap Downloader is a really cool resource for you guys to use, because Snap Downloader allows you to basically take any video from online and download it into your process, which makes it super simple for your producers to download things like commercials, B-roll video, feature videos, anything like that, based on just having the link. Okay. So then we ask the client to give us the link and we will download it for them in that process. Okay. So going back to that, I'm going to show you exactly how that works, just like we did with the pictures. Okay. So those submit it just like they will with the picture. And I'm going to share my entire screen again so you guys can see that. Okay. So let's go here. And let's just say we have on YouTube, I'm going to go to YouTube here. All right. You can see we're live here right now. I'm not going to click that, but I am going to click this one here. I'm going to mute it so you guys can't hear that. They're going to hit the share button. They'll hit copy, and they'll just paste that directly into the form. Okay. So again, it'll look something like this. They'll just paste it, and now you have it. And now using, again, the resource that I gave you guys is Snap Downloader. Snap Downloader. You go to snapdownloader.com, download that. I think it's like $10 for like a whole year, but you get like a whole year of like being able to download any kind of videos and commercials and pre-recorded video and things like that for the client. Okay. So that's really cool. And again, everything is submitted in links so that it keeps it simple for the client. It keeps it simple for you. And it keeps it simple for your producers to be able to just take that link, copy and paste it into the software and download the video directly into the show. Okay. And that's what we're trying to do. Like, again, when you're creating like your remote producer agency platform, whatever, it's really all about systems. Like at the end of the day, being successful at this is about having a really organized system that will allow you to effortlessly do things that would otherwise take maybe a lot of time. You don't want to be going, trying to do like a freelance situation where you're like, oh, just email me the videos and email me this. And then you miss something inevitably because you didn't see that email. They sent you like a ton of different emails with a ton of different pictures in it. And now you're like, no, you have to have an organized system for doing this, especially if you're going to, if you're responsible for doing a bunch of shows and you want all of those shows to make sure they have the right content inside of them, make sure that they are going off without a hitch and that you're not scrambling, like trying to figure out where this little piece of content that they said they sent you is, right? At the last minute. So, and again, this producer's checklist, like once they submit the form, then that form goes to a couple of different people. One, you can have it go to, the person who's like over the organization, right, of the creatives. And then you have one that goes to the individual remote producer, and then you have a copy of that form sent to the client so that you can always, it's just a really good accountability process so that they know that they exactly what they sent you. So if something's missing, they'll be able to like verify and look at that and say, hey, oh yeah, it looks like I didn't send that part to you. And you can kind of go from there, right? So it's just really good accountability. These forms, they're a small little thing that make a huge difference in how you are processing for your client. Okay, so let's go back to the form here. And I'm gonna go back here and talk about some other things that you need to know. Oops. Okay. Making sure that's full. Doing the full screen thing is like, you guys are seeing a little more than I want you to, because every time you go back into Restream Studio, you're able to see that. But anyways, all right, so let's talk about the other information that we need from them. So these are commercial videos. They just send it to you just like I showed you. So they'll copy the link from YouTube or from Vimeo or from wherever, like literally wherever they want, even Facebook. They're able to do that and copy it and paste it into the form area and submit that way. Again, if your client, okay, and this is like kind of a little tool here. Like if your client, for whatever reason, they're like, hey, we don't have them on YouTube. We don't have them on Vimeo. We don't have them anywhere hosted online, but we do have them, in our Google Drive or something like that. The Google Drive, the form, if they put the link to the Google Drive inside of that commercial area, you'll be able to get the videos that way as well. Okay. So let's go back here. All right. Make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, good. So that's commercials. And then inside of pre-recorded videos that you like played with audio during the broadcast. Okay. Now, the reason why we have this here is because commercials are different than pre-recorded videos that you want inside of the broadcast. So commercials are like, the producer knows that we're actually going to cut from the show to the commercial to show this video, right? But if it's a featured video, if it's a featured video, then it can be something that is happening within the broadcast. So it'll be structured differently. So instead of it being a full video, it might be encased inside of, other graphics and things that you have. So it's important to make that differentiation. So it's not like you don't have something that just says, hey, give us all the videos and then give us all the images. Like you have to organize them in as it pertains to like what you're going to be doing with the videos. Okay. So commercial videos are one thing, and you're cutting to a full-on commercial, right? If you're cutting to a pre-recorded video that is kind of a feature video where the guy's saying, hey, I want you to check out this little clip or something, da-da-da-da, let's take a look, then that might be encased in graphics that you really need. Okay, I'm trying not to cough too much, but y'all bear with me. Okay. So now we're moving over here to pre-recorded videos that they want played with audio during the broadcast. With audio during the broadcast, okay? And they have little areas where they can just literally copy and paste that text in there for all of the videos that include that process. B-roll video is going to be a little bit different. B-roll video is video that you'd like to play silently and loop during the broadcast. So a good example of this is like when you have a show like CNN and they're talking about a relevant, topic, and they have videos and images kind of just rolling and playing during that broadcast. I don't even know what to say. Like I'm coughing all over the place, and like it happened so suddenly. So I apologize for that, but thank you for bearing with me as we kind of go through this. So B-roll video is the video that you kind of want happening like on a loop. It's silently playing in the background as you're talking about whatever it is that you're talking about. So it's supporting graphics essentially, or supporting video that happens during that time. So let's take a look at some of that. So the B-roll is silently playing. Again, they copy and paste directly from like the YouTube video. They can just hit the share button there, copy, and then paste that directly into this area where you're asking about the B-roll video, okay? And then what photos would you like to have looped during a broadcast? So this is cool. Again, this can be used in place of the video that you have looping, or it can be simultaneously with the video that you have looping. And again, they will copy and paste photos either from a social media platform or from their Google Drive, right? So like, let's just say they're in their Drive. I'm going to go to my Drive here. And let's just say that they have like, I don't know, pictures, right? So let's see. Let's go here. Let's just say this whole folder has a bunch of pictures in there that they want included. Then they can definitely do it that way by just hitting the share button here or right clicking it, hit get link, copy link, and paste that right in, okay? So they'll paste that right in for B-roll pictures and video from their Google Drive, okay? And again, this is really about like your producer's checklist is about organizing the content in a way that helps the producer know exactly what to do with that content, where it goes in the show that you have, and the formats and things like that, and making sure that the client also is clear about what they are submitting. Okay, guys, I'm actually going to finish up a little bit early today because I am really struggling and I really hate to be like coughing all over the place with you guys. And maybe we can do this again at a different time, okay? Okay, so here we go. I'm going back to the producer's checklist because we're almost done. Believe it or not, we are actually almost done. And then I can cough off screen all I want, right? All right, here we go. Going back to the producer's checklist, other information that your client needs to give you, right? Or making sure that you're asking the right questions. Again, guys, really quickly though, before I kind of get back into that, I hope that this producer's checklist organization is helping you to know what questions that you need from the client in order to, and how you need to organize them in order for you to put this show together without a hitch and to be able to do multiples of them without having to scramble for client content and making sure, oh my God, I hope I have everything I need. Like, I hope that this is, if you're getting nothing from my coughing rant, right? I hope that you're getting that this is how you need to organize it. And again, if you guys want like maybe a copy of, something like this, then you guys hit me up at support@remoteproducerlive.com and say, Kimberly, I want a copy of your producer's checklist, and we'll send something like that out to you. Okay. If that's something that you guys want. All right, awesome. Actually, Tonic, you're watching from like a platform where we're all over on social media right now. So there's quite a few people watching with you. You might be the only one on that particular page there, but I'm super excited, you guys, that you are with me today. And I do apologize like about the coughing and stuff like that, but I hope you're getting what you need to from today's broadcast. Again, all of our broadcasts being specifically to make sure that you guys are equipped as remote producers to be able to produce high level content for your clients, and making sure that you know how to organize the content in a way that suits your system, that helps you to build a system around what you're doing. Okay. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're asking about is, does the client have any talking points that need to be included in the broadcast? Now, this usually kind of comes like, so where they're saying, oh, okay, today we're talking about 5 different things. We're talking about bullet point number 1, bullet point number 2, bullet point number 3. Like, these are not like, an area where you're going to be putting like a whole huge paragraph of information and text on the screen. But where it happens to be bullet points and things like that, your client may want to, highlight specific talking points. And then where they do in the form there, you'll have an option for them to be able to do that. Okay. So going back to the form, again, they'll literally can just type out their bullet points there. And if they do it that way, that's fine. If your client has, I'm just going to give you this as another like thing from experience that we've learned in the process. If your client has more than 5 bullet points, we ask them to submit it as a PowerPoint presentation. And then, of course, you can just kind of scroll through the PowerPoint presentation that way, as opposed to typing out 100 points. Like, we've had people, put in their talking points, and then you have like 100 talking points during a broadcast, and it can be overwhelming for both, the producer to try to keep up with inside of the show, but also time consuming to try to put together. And when you're doing, like, again, back to back every day shows, you really don't have the time to be spending more than, 20 to 30 minutes putting the show together. So this is helping you to make sure that you reduce the time that it takes for your producers to put the show together, so that they're able to and do it in a way that where the functionality is what it needs to be. Okay. So let's go back to the form here. And again, we have 5 talking points available there. And if they need to upload a talking points by PowerPoint presentation, all they need to do is copy and paste the link again for that PowerPoint presentation, and we can take it from there. We can download that PowerPoint presentation. And in our studio, we have like a screen for the PowerPoint presentation, so that we can cut back and forth from the host of the show to their PowerPoint presentation as they're going through it. Or if they like, they specifically have maybe the timing and stuff that they want to do it their way, then they can, once we download it, they can actually do their PowerPoint presentation right there on their laptop, and it will show up on the screen as well. We'll show you kind of how we do all of that behind the scenes in another episode. But I hope today has given you enough thought. I'm trying to mute the coughing, but I hope this episode has given you, kind of some tools and things to think about as it pertains to like how you're showing up with your producer's checklist. Like, what are your producers, the information that they need? Are they getting all of the information that they need from the client? Is the client knowledgeable about what they're submitting? And do they know like what they submitted to you? Again, this producer's checklist sends out a copy to the client, a copy to the producer, and a copy to your COO or whoever it is that is responsible for the creative process for the stream. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, like, this was way more of a struggle than I thought it was going to be. And only just because I'm dealing with some health challenges right now. I had a little bit of a cough earlier, but it was I'm experiencing some mucus situation right now. So like, I'm so sorry. I really am for that, but you hung in there with me and I'm super excited that you did. I hope that you found this helpful. And if you have, make sure that you let us know in the comments area. Say, Kimberly, I found today's episode super helpful, and we'll know to create more stuff like this. Again, like, we can get so caught up sometimes in the technology of what needs to happen with producing your online TV show or producing online TV shows for other people that we forget about, like, that a business is truly built on the systems and processes that are necessary to require you to do what you're doing well and to be able to scale that thing, right? Scaling is really, really important when you're building an agency and building a business around what it is that you're doing. And so your systems and processes need to be in place so that you know every time you get a client, this is the process that they go through. This is what needs to happen. And this is how we do our own internal processes and systems. I'd like to share some of these things with you so that you can get organized and make sure that the content that you're creating is not only high level because of the technology that you're using, but also because of the systems and the processes that you're using to get it done and get it done in a spirit of excellence for your clients. Again, guys, Tracy, thanks for being here. Itonic, thanks for being here. Red Bull, thank you for being here. You guys, I see you in the comment section, and I'm super excited that you were able to make it. Thanks so much. That's all I have for today's episode. Until next time, you guys, I will see you on right here. Oh, make sure that you hit the notifications button so that you never miss another episode. Like, if you came in late and you're like, oh my God, like, I really wanted to watch this episode, don't worry. You can watch the replay, obviously, but also you can hit the notifications button, and every time you go live, you will be notified, first one to know about what's going on with Remote Producer Live. Guys, until next time, I will see you on the other side.